Prop 4789 will allow for a half-cent sales tax here in Maricopa County for funding ongoing and future transportation projects. Relevant agencies will have roughly $15 billion needed to improve our highways. Here to discuss how the funding will be used is John Bullen, Assistant Executive Director of the Maricopa Association of Governments. John, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Let me ask the big picture question, which is how important was the passage of Prop 479 to keep Maricopa County growing and progressing?
Yeah, you bet. It's critical. So this is a funding stream that's been in place since the mid-1980s. So really it was the catalyst in the mid-1980s for construction of the regional freeway system. At the time, it was identified to be the type and kind of region that really our leaders aspired us to be. We would need to make additional investments in transportation. So it passed in the mid-1980s with Proposition 300. Voters renewed it in 2004 to continue that momentum, really, to continue to build out the system. And Prop 479 represents the next iteration, the next 20 years worth of regional transportation investments that are so fundamental to our region's mobility.
Well, let's preview some of those.
You
because
bet.
I happen to live in the North Scottsdale area.
Yeah.
101 lane expansion has been going on for a little over a year, maybe a little under a year. It's at least got another year or so to go. What are some other things that will affect drivers and commuters around the valley?
Yeah, really. So as we look at Prop 479 and we compare it with the prior two initiatives, of course, there's still new freeways that need built, new projects that need built. And so we have facilities like State Route 30, which is the reliever to Interstate 10 in the Southwest Valley that will extend from I-17 all the way out to eventually State Route 85. Completion of State Route 24 in the Southeast Valley, so right now that's an interim freeway. We still have additional investments, though, to finish the system, so to speak. So the construction you had mentioned on Loop 101, that's a great example of, as we see continued growth, we need to continue to build out the network. So we have more of that on Loop 101, areas of Loop 202. And then with 479, and really we're seeing more of these type and kind of projects in 479 than in Prop 400, are those optimization projects. So those investments that we made back in the mid-1980s, those will soon be 30, 40, 50 years old, and so we need to go back and make sure those facilities work for our regional mobility.
That's an interesting point, too, because not only are you building new things, you have to make sure you're maintaining the roads that have been there for a long time. Let me ask you another question as it relates to trying to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Maricopa County, as we know, if not the fastest growing county in the U.S., it's always in the top 3. How are you best able to at least stay as close to being ahead as possible? I know it's hard because often it's like, well, we need another lane or two for this because we grew even faster than we thought. How do you stay close to up to date on that?
Yeah, well, the half-cent sales tax that was just approved by Maricopa County voters, the continuation of that is really a critical and fundamental piece of that. From a regional planning perspective, we take a lot of time, care, consideration to where that growth is going to occur, where the problems are going to exist in the future, and to the best extent possible, as we have funding available, really try to get those investments out early to try and alleviate some of those problems.
So big picture, how much planning goes into this? I mean, how many meetings, how many big picture ideas do you have to have?
You bet. So the plan that's really underpins the extension of Prop 400, Prop 479, took about 4 years to develop in total. It was unanimously approved by all the mayors, representatives of the Board of Supervisors, tribal leaders from around the valley. There was a lot of effort that went into that, a lot of care, consideration, and a significant amount of public engagement too. All being told, last I looked when we added up the total amount of engagement opportunities, we're north of 700, so in one way, shape, or form.
Wow, so trying to hear from as many stakeholders as you possibly can.
You bet.
We're down to less than a minute, so let me ask a question about the future, but one that really is about optimism. As you go forward with the decisions that have been made and knowing, again, balancing growth, what do you think about the progress that's been made so far? And do you think the next 5, 10, 20 years we should be optimistic about how we get around the valley?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think as you look at the valley, you look at the job growth that we've seen, at the economic prosperity, really underpinning that is the investments that we've made in transportation. So you look at where some of these major employers are located, it's not an accident that they're close to a freeway corridor or a light rail corridor. And so that continued investment is critically important. At the end of the day, it allows people to get home quicker, allows people to spend more time with their family, allows people to access those places that they want to access.
Terrific. Well, John, thank you and good luck, because you'll be hearing from people if they don't like it, I presume.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks again.
Appreciate it.